Welcome back, cool cats. I found the most important and market relevant channel on SPY and QQQ, and it's even bigger than the short-term channel I've been sharing. I've got some wild things to share with you that I've discovered on TLT, Dixie, and the VIX, indicating that the market is expecting something crazy to happen the week of December 18th. And if you don't know the significance of that date, stick around because I'm going to explain everything. We'll also be touching on a few of the Mag 7. In my This Changes Everything video linked above, I said that the upside target for this pattern right here, this descending triangle, or some people could see it potentially as a diamond pattern, was an upside target of around 94. And as I shared on X, StockTwits, and the YouTube community tab, we hit that target, pulled back, and are now hovering just below this main resistance line in yellow, as well as below the even more significant previous support line of the multi-year descending channel, which we have to zoom way out to even be able to see. And if you don't want to miss the real-time patterns and insight that I share throughout the week, please follow me on social and hit the subscribe and notification bell on here so you'll never miss a market mealysis. And the chart's about to get a little messy, but I want to show you the Ichimoku cloud and the moving averages on the daily time frame. You can see how we're still below cloud resistance on the daily time frame and below the 100-day simple moving average. But it's a very bullish sign. We're above the 200, the 50, the 10, the 21, and the baseline of the Ichimoku cloud. But if we can break above this yellow resistance line, there's decreasing resistance on the way up to this previous support line of that descending channel that I mentioned. And what I'm about to share on the Dixie will likely have huge implications for what TLT is going to do next. Is this a head and shoulders pattern on Dixie with the neckline either being diagonal right here or potentially horizontal through here? Or is this instead a massive falling wedge pattern? Oftentimes, leading into major market moving events, charts will actually set up both a bullish and a bearish pattern with similar targets. And I believe it's no coincidence that the apex of this is targeting December 18th, which is both when the Fed releases their interest rate decision at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the Bank of Japan interest rate decision will be released at 10 p.m. Depending on what happens, if the falling wedge breaks out, it's targeting somewhere around 107.20. But if this is going to be a head and shoulders pattern, the breakdown would be targeting somewhere around 102.80, somewhere below 103. The significance of the Bank of Japan interest rate decision cannot be overstated, because on July 30th, the Bank of Japan did a 15 basis point hike instead of the 0 that was forecast, and we can see what happened. On the 30th, we had the market push up because we had a bit of a double bottom, but by Thursday, August the 1st, the market was already feeling the effects of the yen carry trade as it unwound into August 5th. When we take a look at the VIX, we can see this massive falling wedge that's formed that appears to be foretelling a breakout of fear with the apex on Monday, December 16th, the week of the FOMC interest rate decision. I had previously shared this ascending triangle pattern on the VIX, and I said that the breakdown target was somewhere around 12. So we very well may see fear continue to leave the market and SPY and QQQ continue to move higher and closer to resistance right up into that week and event. And this is what's amazing about technical analysis. You could have known absolutely nothing about what events were planned for this week, and yet the technicals foretold that something major is going to occur. Now let's get into those channels on SPY and QQQ that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. I said in my last video, linked above, that SPY looked like it wanted to break above the main resistance line here in red, and it did. But the fact that SPY broke support on this ascending channel, this minor channel, but keeps trying to claw its way higher feels like bulls that don't realize that they've lost a trend. But it's always so important to stop thinking about what the market should be doing based off of fundamentals and figure out what it is doing if you want to make money. In a previous video, I showed the symmetrical triangle pattern here on SPY and on QQQ, and we could very well be trying to complete the pattern target for this somewhere around 620. So this main channel that I've identified on SPY and QQQ that the market is bouncing around in right now has its main touch points around August 30th, September 6th, November 4th, and November 11th for anybody who wants to draw it on their own charts. If the symmetrical triangle is now playing out within this channel, then we have a well-defined support and resistance from which to plan major trades. And here's the crazy part. We would be meeting that pattern target the week of the 18th, just below the main resistance line of the channel and getting pretty close to this other main resistance line as well. So in blue, this is the same channel on QQQ. Notice how much more room there is to run before hitting the upper resistance line of this channel on QQQ. But there are these other very main resistance lines that could get in the way. So we could see main resistance for QQQ starting around 533, moving up to roughly around like 535 leading up into that week. And real quick, I just want to say that what I share in my videos are literally the same levels that I would or do trade off of. You're not getting a dumbed down version curated for YouTube. And I've said before that I would periodically revisit patterns and targets that I called out to see the accuracy. So let's take a quick look at Google and Amazon and show some updated patterns and analysis. We've got a lot going on for the chart of Google, so let's dive into this. We had the symmetrical triangle that I pointed out multiple videos before, who I said was targeting this demand zone down here somewhere around 145. We only got to about 148, so we didn't fully complete that pattern, but then again, we're in a bull market. Now, one could argue that this looked like an inverted head and shoulders, with this line right here being the main neckline. If that were the case, that pattern target would be targeting somewhere around 193, which is basically previous all-time highs. However, I want you to pay close attention to this giant symmetrical triangle in orange that goes all the way back to July 11th. Notice how we have multiple touch points on the support and the resistance for this pattern. And the support line of it appears to be confirmed because we had this ascending channel here in yellow. We broke support on that channel. You can see we had kind of a waterfall event, but this support caught it. So if this breaks out to the upside, we're looking at a pattern target of somewhere around 220. But if it breaks to the downside, and right now this is a resistance line as long as we're under this line in green, if it breaks to the downside, we're looking at a pattern target of around 138. Which could potentially be the breakdown of the giant rising wedge pattern that I've been covered in multiple videos. Taking a look at Amazon, months ago I pointed out the symmetrical triangle pattern on it with a pattern target of roughly around 210, and look at this baby. We pull this over here and we can see we hit that pattern target. And that's where we got our big pullback from, and then the market continued to rip higher. Now, I've said it before, and I'll say it again, we have to keep a close eye on what NVIDIA is doing. We know that it rejected off of this main resistance line, pulled down and broke that support, but there is this main support line right here that could continue to hold it up. So we might see a bounce if NVIDIA hits around 140 a share. It's a good psychological level as well. But if this main support line were to break, there isn't a whole lot of support until it came all the way down to, somewhere around like 120, which may sound like a big drop, but it absolutely could happen. And alternatively, if this support held up and we were to break through this resistance and start treating it as a support, we could see NVIDIA come up to somewhere around 155. Before I share today's trading rule to live by, I want to quickly take the time to share some very important insights. Nothing in trading is certain. It is only probability. And you should only take trades where the probability is 70% or higher, know your reward to risk, and leave room to average in. For anyone who's curious how I got started learning about the markets and trading, I've had an interest in trading for many years, but never really had the time to learn. I felt that God had impressed upon me very strongly that I should avoid debt, however, and a little over 2 years ago, I felt again very strongly that He was pushing me to learn this skill. Financial freedom is not only a blessing to the individual, but it can free you to help many others as well. I've had my fair share of losses, both personally and in trading, and I've struggled wondering if this was even the right decision and if I had heard right from God. But I truly believe this will be life-changing, and I'm already seeing the benefits. This is why I make these videos, so that others can benefit from the things I've learned along my journey. And perhaps, hopefully, they can also experience financial freedom. But as always, nothing I've said is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and I want to wish everybody the best of luck, cool cats, and God bless.